and hopefully Facebook will work at some point. So good morning, guys. How is everybody? I need some life today. I need some friends today.
Good morning.
We're here for you.
Thank you, Deirdre. Okay, so anybody want to start with something good? What's going on? Anybody got something that just got to share? Tell me something good moment. Very simple.
Well, my name is Deirdre Malloy.
Go ahead, Deirdre.
I'm a newer agent at KW Village Square, and I'm getting ready to close on a commercial building.
Wow.
Yeah. Where did you get that lead from, and how did you close it?
It's been a long few months, but we're like almost there.
Okay, so where did the connection come from? If you can inspire others as to where that client came from.
Can't hear you. Uh-oh. Am I breaking it? I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, where did you find that client from so you can inspire others as to where they could find clients like that?
Oh, I've been working with this client for years. He buys a lot of real estate, and he wanted to take that next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And commercial real estate is definitely a next step for many. When we talk about investing in single family and in multifamily, but ultimately, if you could pick up a mixed use building or a commercial building where you have a really great tenant, the building appreciates, your tenant is paying off the mortgage, and you have a customer that has, commercial real estate and big asset at the end of this. So you have to remember always that commercial clients live in houses and residential clients workplaces. So there is that crossover of commercial and residential that we should not ignore. If we're scared of it, obviously you could send it over to Deirdre. But it is very intimidating sometimes if you're not a numbers person or if you might not understand how to handle it. And it's better to pass it on for 25% and give it to somebody that can handle the client than to, mess up the line of referrals that could potentially come from that one client.
It's like a whole nother animal, isn't it? The commercial?
It is a whole other animal, and there's still people involved.
So I'm breaking up, I think, so I apologize for that. I'm right now doing floor plans with the architect because I'm going to have the lease up side too. So it's like a brain stretch, literally.
And that's awesome.
So I'm a little nervous, but I'm up for the challenge. Yeah.
Everybody had their first building, their first big project like that, and it all starts somewhere. That's something that I actually was talking with one of our agents this morning about. In wherever we are in our walk in our career, we have to understand that everybody that we see that we think has arrived and everything looks so put together now, there's a mess behind it. That there's an organized chaos behind it. There's failures that have literally like changed the way I think about certain things because I had to go through that really painful lesson before I was able to truly understand. So, don't be afraid of some of these bigger opportunities that are put in front of you. Just know that it was given to you because you were chosen for that opportunity, and then fight through that little, if you have a little belly ache, that's great, because on the other side of that is growth. Okay. And just, limit the vomiting, because there were times where I would get real nervous, real nervous. We just got to push through it. Yep, it sits right up in here.
Right now it's all right here.
Eventually you'll be over that hump and it'll be awesome. So congratulations. What else? Give me one other, tell me something good. I feel like Jim, you don't got something? I feel like you have something.
I always have something. I'm just at a loss for words. The weekend's coming, 3-day weekend. Come on.
Oh my goodness, yes, Labor Day. Woo! I'm in Tenafly and they have coconut pie down at the bagel store, so I'm really happy with this one. That's my good for the day. All right.
Two
Yes,
things.
Kathy.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Actually, two things that have happened. So the first thing is I have an under contract that the appraisal came through, and it came through at our number. So my first time buyers are actually, after losing 7 bids, looks like we'll get to the closing table in September, mid-September.
Wow.
Thrilled beyond for them because they're so deserving.
That is awesome. Can you rewind for a second to share? You said 7 offers, right?
7 offers, yes. Always.
You know what I want to know? Because I'm sure everybody knows, okay, well, you rewrite the contract and you go back and take them out. But what I want to know is, how did you keep the relationship throughout those 6 that they didn't get?
You know what? Communication. It was really being there, leveraging Zoom, taking them. First of all, this young couple, so determined. And, I was working with another agent, and this was actually kind of a referral. I ended up taking the lead on with this young couple. And it was communication and, being there to let them know, depending upon what the situation was. Sometimes we would let them know, and we wouldn't be on Zoom. We'd just be on a phone call to give them some privacy, to grieve that they lost this house. And sometimes it was on Zoom so we could be there with them. What was always so cool about this couple is within usually an hour, they had the next listing of houses they wanted to go see because they were so determined. So really overall, they were, their minds were there. And then this house that they ended up getting is a house that originally they had gone to see at an open house, and they were so overwhelmed at the open house they didn't even consider this home. And my colleague suggested they go take a look at it again because it was in their #1 town, and they ended up having the opportunity to actually talk directly with the seller, and the seller and buyers kind of fell in love with each other. And then that whole weekend, they kept on seeing the address, like the number of the address, wherever they went. And so we put the offer in, and for less than the list, and we got the house. So it was so exciting to have that moment. We definitely did that as a Zoom. I think we did that as a Zoom call to be able to see their expression.
Yeah.
They were so used to disappointment. They were like shocked when we're like, "You got the house."
No. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, because
Sure.
now let me ask you, in the initial consultation with that buyer, did that come up as to setting expectations of potentially losing offers that they put out?
Yes. Not only losing out, but also explaining the process in terms of, because mortgage rates are so low, we have buyers that think that they can just offer like a crazy number, and they don't understand the appraisal side of it. And that conversation I had to do with my own daughter. That conversation is one that it doesn't sink in right away. They don't understand how the left hand and right hand, just because you can afford, it's like $50 more to go up $10,000, it doesn't mean it's going to appraise.
That's right.
And the fact that you're putting yourself at risk at that late in the game, that you might lose your down payment, and can you really afford to lose that down payment?
Right.
We had to do a lot of, it doesn't sink in. Not everything sinks in. So there was a lot of over managing to get them to a place where they understood what the risk and rewards were of going through this process. So
sure. And thank you, because there's a lot of times where we don't know how to manage the expectations of the client, and it wasn't that you did anything wrong, it's just that they in their head thought it was going to go one way, and because you didn't tell them one thing, you didn't set the expectation that this could happen, and then that happens, and then you didn't tell us that, Kathy.
Right, exactly.
And now it's your fault, and unfortunately some buyers can't get over that, and they just believe that it was the agent's fault, and they don't take ownership in it.
Yes.
And sometimes, like I was saying yesterday, it's not of our making. Some things happen and it's not of our making, and you have to explain that to the buyers, that somebody may just come through and put a ridiculous offer that nobody else would offer, but their mom lives next door, and so that property is way more valuable than any other house on the market.
Yes.
So
well, if you have the cash to be able to support the differential in the appraisal, then good for you. But if you don't have that, then you're in a very risky situation. And so you really have to understand how much risk they can afford to take so that you don't get that far down, because it becomes, you know, there's a credibility issue with your buyer, with the seller, with the other agent.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you're affecting lives at that point. So, you know.
And you know, to that point is, you just said the other agent. I want you guys to always remember that the way we treat other people is so important. Of course, it's important how we treat our clients, 100%. However, that client may be the biggest jerk, and they may not work with you, or they may close with you. And the agent that you treated badly because of the way your client was behaving, now you've ruined a professional relationship that you're probably going to need in your business. For me to be able to pick up the phone to say, hey, Kathy, it's Mary Beth over at KW. I know I see you have one under contract. Are you at asking price? Could you give me where you're at right now? And Kathy knows how I work, and she knows I'm not doing this maliciously. I probably need the information. And she says, I'll tell you this, we're within 3%.
Right.
Or you get the agent that would never even answer the phone for you because you've been such a jerk throughout a different transaction. So customers will come and go. Agents that are in the business are going to be in the business. And same thing with attorneys, and same thing with mortgage brokers, inspectors, appraisers. You know, nobody's better than anybody. Let's be honest. We're all human, and we are no better than anybody. We need to talk to each other with respect. And yes, there is a way at the appraisal that you can come with a couple of comps and easily say to an appraiser, hey, I did some work for you. Just thought you might like to look at these to make your job a little easier. He may turn around and tell you, I can't accept anything. All right, don't get offended. Maybe the next time you bring them, he goes, all right, I'll take them from you. But the first time he's going to say what he has to say because that's what he's supposed to say. So thank you for sharing. What I want to do is I want to go into a PowerPoint that I use. I'm going to share. And this I use for a mid-year business planning clinic. And so I just wanted to go back and review, because we've gone through 2 of our models so far. And we actually, in the first week when we talked about the personal perspectives, we actually touched on the first part, which is think a million. So I just wanted to review a couple things and let's have some open conversation on if anything resonated or if you'd like to share something. But this is the course map of planning out your journey of a full year of business, understanding, and I do want to show you what the organizational and the budget model look like a little bit today. Because I believe that, and you know, not everybody operates the same way, but I do believe that I need to see what is my end goal. If I'm working in this business, what am I ultimately looking to develop? Because as a first-year agent, I don't want to have a first-year mindset. As a 10-year agent, I don't want to say, well, I'm 10 years and this is where where are you today? Where do you want to be in a couple of years? Where do you want to see your business grow? And there is a map for that. And so I've seen some really great 7th level business, and I'm going to talk to you like, you know what this is all about. 7th level business where you've actually removed yourself out of the business and you have a team that sells for you and you are receiving money from that business. That is the ultimate goal in the millionaire real estate agent path. However, that is not everybody's path in this business. I have seen some wonderful one agent, multiple admin business, very fruitful, very profitable for the Rainmaker. Now the Rainmaker is you. The Rainmaker is the lead agent, is the one who makes it rain, who brings the leads, who brings the vision, the capital. They have to think a million first, or think 500,000, or think 2 million, whatever you are looking to accomplish in your business as you develop it. You are the CEO, you have to create the plan. And yet there are models that you need to follow in order to not reinvent the wheel, which as we go to this next slide, that is basically what we're talking about, is reinventing the wheel, becoming creative before you get models down. And I'll go ahead and put this also into the coaching lobby so you can download the PowerPoint if you want to use some of these pieces to put around you. I'm also a visual person. I'm also a drawer. So And I've had times in my life where that stuff has not been around me and I have felt a little lost because visually and so understand how you learn and how you respond to motivation in your life. But we have to get those models down before we become creative. Now this one here, does anybody remember what personal perspective this one was? So this one here is actually EtoP. Can anybody remember what the EtoP stood for? E to P. So E is entrepreneurial. P is purposeful. You're going from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Naturally, could any of us go do 6 deals a year? Naturally, we probably could. We could talk to people at the bagel store and sell our sister's house and list our own house, and we could do about 6 deals probably naturally. Well, purposefully, could we sell 12? We probably have to put some systems in place. Yes, purposefully we could. But if our natural ceiling is 6, we're not going to do 12 unless we're purposeful. And then once we hit that 12 a year, 12 becomes the new normal. It's like when you work out and you know you could do 10 reps, but now you want to do 15 reps, or you're going to increase the weight. Well, first you got to get to that 10 reps of the 30 pounds, and then you could probably increase to the 40, and now that's your new ceiling, breakthrough the ceiling. And that's what the breakthrough to the higher achievement is. So understand, through this journey, you're going to have a goal and you're going to have a target. So in this case, the target is Mount Everest, but the goal for now is Mount Whitney. Let's just get there first, so that the big target, where am I aiming? And if you're going along with what the book is telling you, it's saying you're aiming not to be $100,000 real estate agent. You're aiming to be a millionaire real estate agent. And I've also seen some really fabulous people not do it all through real estate sales. And I had a great conversation with one of our agents this morning. As we do our sales, we still need to set up our Roth IRAs, our 529 for our kids. We should have life insurance, but we should have some investment policies that are going to work for us, that we can take this money that we're earning and we can put it into a machine that is going to multiply it. And so that is another thing that came to me today, was we need to get a financial advisor into this conversation, and we need to let that be a resource inside of our productivity program. Because I have one really great one that I trust, that's been around for a lot of years. I'm 42. He's been around for 22 years. I trust him. So I want you to find somebody you trust, because that's going to be somebody that's also in your sphere of influence. That's going to be somebody that you're going to say B2B, business to business. How can I add value to you? Who's a referral for you? Here's what a referral looks like for me, Mr. Financial Advisor. So I want that to be a personal relationship as well that you develop. So what is your target? What is your goal? And so when we talk about goals, we talk about some forms that we can be using. Now this here just talks about all the myths that you can't do it, and it's going to be too much money, it's too risky. It's all this negative mindset that we go, you can do it. You just got to believe you can do it. You just got to go do it. You can't just keep telling me you're going to do it. You know, doing something and saying you're going to do something, two totally different things. And I'll be real vulnerable for a second. I got into an argument with my husband today, and I may need to figure out how to be a better wifey wife. I mean, this is new for me. I wasn't making anybody's coffee in the morning, right? So we're getting to that new level of understanding each other, and I'm breaking through. And I don't even know why I'm telling you that, but it went off on a tangent. It'll be fine. All right. So back to this. Is think like a million. Think powered big why. Big goals, big models. Think competitively, strategically. Think action and accountability. Think talent system standards. You are going to encounter talent. Kathy sounds like she's really got it together, the way she speaks to her clients, the way she handles her business. I've only known her virtually for like 4 weeks. However, I would think that talent may float into her world. She may not know if she's ready for it yet. You know, somebody who looks talented, like a buyer's agent, but she's not there yet. Well, we still want to groom them. We want to think Who am I attracting to me? Because when I'm ready, I want that talent bench so I could say, you're my showing agent, you're my buyer's agent. Okay, think knowledge and skills, persistence, resilience, and I shared that with you yesterday. Persistence and resilience, good seed, ambition, keep it going, keep on trucking. It's going to stick at some point because you're a good sower and you got great seed and you're ambitious. And think profit. Think profit is something that I have to tell you, Gary Keller has put some major focus on over the last couple of years. For years, you would have panels of people on our conferences, and nobody was checking for their profit and loss statement. And this is common. When you're looking at somebody and you're measuring their success in our business, what are you looking at? How many deals did they close? How many listings did they have? Oh, they have 10 people that work for them. Okay, is it a profitable business? Are her margins in place? That's a business owner. And so just recently, over the last few years, Gary Keller got real serious. If you're going to sit on our panel, I need to see your P&L. And I need to make sure that you're in line with the percentages that you should be netting out of a business of that size. You know, I said yesterday also that Ben Kinney, his company made $25 million in commissions in 2019. Well, if it cost him $26 million to run that machine, it would be the worst business out there. And there are many big box businesses outside of real estate I'm talking about that are losing their shirt in business, but appearing like they're really super profitable. So I want us to always say, don't compare yourself with other people, other businesses. Compare yourself to yourself. Am I profitable? Am I staying in the margins? What I'm doing, is it working for me? Powered by a big why. My big why is to always empower and bring hope, purpose, and empowerment to others. It could be in real estate. It could be with my homeschooler kids. It could be with my ladies in my house. It could be with my family in Africa that we help. I'm always looking to hope, purpose, and empowerment. So you need to identify what that big why is. And that big why is going to be driven by big models and big goals. When somebody says to me, I want to be a platinum producer. A platinum producer is a $20 million producer. $20 million producer is a $500,000 GCI earner. What they keep is up to them. However, a $20 million producer, if you're a $5 million producer and you're telling me I want to be a platinum producer, my question back to you is, are you willing to do the things to create a $20 million habit life? Because your habits line up to your income right now. Your habits and the time that you put into are going to add up to what you're absolutely earning. Now, when you're in your foundation of building and you're just putting things in place, you're going to have a 90-day startup time. But if in 6 months things are not going for you, we need to reassess what happened there. But you have to give yourself 90 days to let the plan work. Think competitively and strategically. We don't know where the mortgage rates are going to go. We have to be flexible. The minute those mortgage rates hike, our prices could fall. Our buyers could freeze. And what are we doing? Who are we listing? Who's our customer? What's our message? So we have to be strategic and competitive. And one thing with this is, though, you also need to know what your value is. Because there was a conversation going through the chat about a company that does less than 4% as a total commission. You will never want to take that listing ever again, even if you were able to.
Yeah, no.
No, I don't think so. And it's usually your friends and family that are asking it from you. And you really need to say no then. So you need to understand what your value is. I also put out in the coaching lobby 117 tasks that you do for the sellers. Start getting angry when somebody asks you to cut your commission. I share with you guys about going from 3% down to 2.5% is not just a 0.5%. It's a 17% decline in what you are willing to take home. 0.5% of 3% is proportionately 1/6 of what you were putting out there. You just negotiated down 1/6. So you keep doing that for every single listing, and 17% off of 100,000 is $17,000 that you just gave away because you didn't want to practice your scripts about my commission is 3%. Now let's decide what we want to give to the buyer's agents. Okay, talent and standards and knowledge and persistence and all this, we're going to move on to here is goal setting. So this is something that we have been talking about more of like, well, what's the 1-year goal? Jim and I just did a one-on-one yesterday, and it was, well, what's the 1-year goal financially? Plugging it into an economic model and then figuring that out. But I also need for you to think, what's my 5-year goal and what's my someday goal? If anybody has their 5-year goal or someday goal and would like to share, I'd love to hear. I personally would just share with you that in the next 5 years, I will be 47 in 5 years. I will have 3 children, 4 total with my stepson. Now I have to make this happen. I can't just 5 years goes by and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened in the last 5 years? And if you wanted to really think about it, think about where you were 5 years ago. So at 42, okay, where was I at 37? Think about where were you 5 years ago? Think about what that age is and think about how much you have grown, how much you have endured, what has changed in 5 years. You're probably a whole different person. And the same person, and yet life has happened and it has sculpted you. And so now I want you to control what the next 5 years looks like. Because sometimes we look back and we go, wow, I did that without any focus. I didn't even know what I was doing and I got here. Like, high five myself. However, if you actually said, no, I want to be there when it's 5 years and I look back and I say, I did it, we did it, awesome, thank you. What does that look like? I say that I will have those 3 children, 4 children total. We will have a house with a barn in the back. I will have my art studio. We will also have a peanut butter factory in Africa that will help sustain a village so that these women don't have to go to Kenya anymore and leave their babies behind. Okay, so my vision is clear. I have spoken it to my family. I have spoken it to my church. I now have people rallied behind what we're going to do. Are you clear on where you're going? And it's okay if you're not, because I haven't always been. You have to decide where you're going to go. Now, does anybody want to share a goal that we can, because when you say it out loud, it becomes real, and then somebody's going to hold you accountable. All right, we're not there yet. That's okay. You'll get there.
Mary Beth, I can share mine.
Thank you, Kathy.
I had done this through Taking Bold last year. So I can share mine. I'm probably in a different place than most of you on the call, but I'll share it anyway. So my 5-year goal is, so from a spiritual life, it's volunteering on a regular basis. For physical health, it's retired and active and fit. Personal is retired with my husband. Relationship is vacation with my husband, children, and grandchildren. My role would be as a trainer and coach. That would be kind of job. And my business is that I've achieved my 5-year plan and that I have a beach house.
I love it. It is very clear. It sounds like something from here. That's the bold exercise, correct?
It's a bold exercise. I also, actually ran the MRE book club for Town Life last year.
Awesome.
But we also did some of these things together.
Okay. In the one thing on page 114, okay, you see all those circles there? So the one thing, page 114, I'll take a picture of this and pop it in the lobby, is where Kathy has gotten those circles from. And that was put into bold. Your spiritual life, your physical health, your personal life, your key relationships, your job, your business, and your finances. And setting goals around there, that activity lets you create that wheel of where are you on a scale from 1 to 10, and all of those, 10 being that, oh my gosh, spiritually, I'm amazing. I'm everywhere where I want to be. You know what? Fitness-wise, I'm about a 2. You know, so we get to be honest, and our wheel isn't actually a wheel, and the goal is to get it to be a wheel. And listen, guys, when this is honest, right? When fitness was at its best for me, my spiritual was in the toilet. And so I needed to find a balance in all of that, because as work is really great, my relationships were in the gutter. And relationships were really great, well, I wasn't putting really focus on work. So we always need to check ourselves. Awesome. Okay, so now here we are, back to this for a second, is analyzing your goals. And this right here is what I wanted to really get to, is the 411. Now, I am going to send a blank 411, and I am very open to you just send me what you think it might look like, or we could do a whole session on the 411s, but I want you to get comfortable using tools like this. The 411 is going to break down annual goals, personal and business, to monthly goals, personal and business, and then weekly you walk in with a plan every week to start to attack that monthly goal. How do you eat that elephant? 1 bite at a time. How do you lose 40 pounds? 1/2 of a pound at a time. Okay, and listen, if we were to lose 1/2 pound a week, we'd all be down 25 pounds by the end of the year. And yet we're up 3 pounds. But you're up 3 pounds 10 years and you're 30 pounds heavier. Well, it's the same thing in business though too, is like, all right, so we did 2 more listings. Then next year winds up being 5 more listings. Then all of a sudden you got 12 listings, 20 listings, and you keep growing. But if we're looking for these huge exponential gains, wins, and that's the only thing that's going to keep us satisfied, that is going to get you out of the business real fast. So in order to keep it small, you know, Gary Keller talks about, you want a big, big life? Well, you better go real small. I was talking to somebody that yesterday, and this is as simple as it is with the real estate agent. You know what? If Jim wants to focus on Fairlawn, well, let's focus on Fairlawn. I know you sold one over here in Ramsey, and there's one down here over in Saddle River, but where do you want to focus, and where do you want to receive more listings from? Well, what happens is I was with another agent, and you know, she sold one over here, and then she sold one in Essex County, and one down here, and then she's running all over, and she's not going deep. The minute that deal closes, I don't want any more business over there, so I'm going to run over this way now. And so you could do a whole bunch of that for a good couple years and never really get a foothold of what your market is. So tools like this have kept me on track. And I'm going to show you, after I get through this, I'm going to show you a 135, because that is going to be what you need to do for me for next week, is create your 135. However, this year we've talked about through and through. This is our economic model, right, guys? Yes. And, sorry, see if there's a chat. Okay, so this is our economic model. We've talked through this tremendously. Cost of sale, operating expenses. Those two we haven't talked about too much. Cost of sale is anything that happens only when a transaction closes. So that could be like a buyer's commission, a royalty, but we're going to skip through this because I don't want to get into that. So here is your economic model for the $1 million net income, right? $2.5 million would need to come in for that operator to net $1 million. You can see on the bottom there, you have operating expenses of $750 and you have cost of sale of $750. Cost of sale is your buyer agents and everybody that's working for you as a real estate agent. Operating expenses are space and administrative and marketing and all of that. Okay, so we talked about that. We went to the lead generation. Now, let me just show you. This is what your budget model should look like. Okay, this is when we talk about you need to make 200,000 to take home 100,000. That's falling right in line with the net income percentage take home. So what they're saying is you might even be taking home less than 50%. And you can see the best practices right here. And I don't want to get too much into budget right now because I don't want to lose you guys on that. So I apologize for getting off on a tangent. Sometimes you just know too much stuff and it goes haywire. Okay. So this is budget. I want you to see this right here. Okay. So when we look at where are you growing, here's you. When you get to a point that you can only do so much, and what we say is at 24 to 36 transactions, you're going to feel that you can't be the only real estate agent inside your business. And so when we get to that point, we can start to think about what will we be creating. And this is the 7th level. So this is replacing yourself in the business while you've created your ops team, your lead generation team, and then your buyers and sellers team. And while this may be far out for some of us, or maybe for some of us it's a never, I do not want to limit your thinking as to where your business can grow, because as a brand new agent, this is what I saw and this is where I wanted to go. And ultimately I've done that in the leadership path at Keller Williams. And yet you could do that as a rainmaker, or you could do that as a leader here. And if you wanted to go to the page in the red book, it's page 273, which you will be able to see very clearly the path to the millionaire real estate agent team. So when someone says to you, oh, what's your first hire? Our coaching clients are absolutely going to answer correctly with admin. What's your second hire? Admin. What's your third hire? Buyer's agent. Go ahead, Deirdre.
I'm going to need that kind of situation. So I'm going to want to talk to you offline.
Good. Perfect. There is a M Olive. I'm going to try to put it in the chat. molive.youcanbookme.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. molive.youcanbookme.com.
Thank
And
you.
you should be able to book me. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, when I was a brand new agent, I wanted to go to Mega Camp. Mega Camp was something that was like the first year was, oh, we go to Mega Camp. And I was told, oh, Mega Camp's only for people that are doing 5 million or more. Well, that was a lie, because somebody was telling me that, and that wasn't the truth. It was just what that leader thought it should be. And I said, forget it. I'm going anyway. I don't care. I did 7 million that year. And I do believe, because I was able to see this kind of vision as to where my business could grow to, and I got to listen to these people that were doing over 100 transactions when 16 years ago that wasn't a thing. Now people are doing, our largest producer last year did 2,200 transactions. Not the office, the team. 2,200 transactions. That was unfathomable 16 years ago. But because you keep getting inspired, and those people got inspired, they were able to do it. So I just want to go back to this part right here, which is the lead generation, and we were talking about heavily this week, is there's 2 methods. It's prospect and market. And we talked about a million ideas over the last couple of days. So if you have to go back to some of our recordings, please do so. When we look at what could you possibly be doing, here are all the things that you could possibly be doing. And that is from page 30 something, I think 39 or so, or is it 37 inside the red book? No, I'm sorry, page 138. 138 in the red book is this page. Now, when we take a look at this, it's where are you going to be on the prospecting side? There's 21 activities that you could be doing, phone or face-to-face. And I'm going to encourage you to go out there and buy some blank note cards, or get yourself, go on Vistaprint. You make yourself feel real good. Go on Vistaprint and order yourself, my name is Mary Beth, so a big M card. You can get personalized blank thank you cards with your M on it, with your brand, your logo. You know, don't just go KW, because this is a personal card. Now, if you got KW cards, use your KW cards, of course. But you should have some, I'm an artist, so I have like artsy, fartsy, Picasso type, like, you know, cards. Handwrite, couple of business cards in there, 3 to be specific. But here's all your prospecting activities, and on the right side, there's your marketing activities. When they take a look, 90% of the business came from 5 sources or less. What will be your 5 sources? It doesn't say that it has to be any source. It's just what is the source that works for you. And so as far as this, I spoke with Billy and Elise, and together we are going to create for you a 12 direct marketing piece. So we are going to create 12 pieces so that you don't even have to think about it. We're going to load them into, we'll download them, we're going to figure it out. Elise and Billy will figure it out. And Billy will have it on file that if you say, Jim, you identified those 100 homes, and then you got your other 100 people, and you say, Billy, here's the 200 addresses. Can I just get the generic 12 touch? And now you also put your people on an electronic version of it and whatever. So we're working on that. We should have that done in a couple of weeks. I have a meeting with them next week, and I could assure you it's probably only going to take about 2 weeks to put together. But that is going to be the no-brainer go-to. Now, of course, can you be creative and do your own? Yes. I just want to take the thinking out of it for some of you that are getting frozen on the what do I say? And, well, where would I get that? And what does that have to look like? But I also want to encourage you that market snapshots, I'll provide some for you that you could just go ahead and use. But if you're not internalizing them, if you don't know how to go figure that out for yourself as to what's going on in the market, looking at your hot sheet every day, looking at the town that you like, that you are going to go deep in, if you're not doing that for yourself, it's not going to sink in when I give you a flyer. We'll talk about it, but I want you to really learn how to be an economist, a true professional in understanding what the market is telling us through numbers. And so I'm not hitting you guys hard with the accountability yet, but come mid-September, we have some accountability forms that you're going to have to fill out on Mondays. And we're going to move to more of a Monday call, will be like a Monday mindset, and we'll be talking about some of the successes that came in your forms. So if we like accountability, say yay, yay.
Yay. That's why I'm here.
Because that scale is really, really telling. That scale is really telling. So does anybody have anything they want to add to finish off this week? Because tomorrow we roll into net sheets at 11 o'clock, 11 to 11:30. We're doing net sheets on single families and net sheets for investors. 30 minutes, but it is different than the coaching lobby. It is the MREI Financial Friday. So does anybody have anything to kind of tie this week with a bow? And Jim, is there anything that you might be able to share from our conversation yesterday?
Yeah, I have a quick question. What's the volume for, I guess, a rainmaker and an admin or two? What's like the volume of transactions?
So I would say that at 10 million, you are ready for that admin for sure.
Okay.
However, from 5 to 10 million, you're going to get a little funky. You're going to need some, some extra hands, some leverage. Maybe you have somebody come in to help you once a month get out that postcard or reorganize your database or stuff like that. But I would say once you hit that 5 million threshold, you're feeling like you need a little help because maybe you have more listings than you ever had before.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 million has always been when you have 10 million coming in volume, because it's more about the transaction. I've seen people right now in our MLS, there's a guy that did 44 million in closed volume last year, last 12 rolling months. 44 million.
By himself?
Yes.
Wow.
Do you know how many transactions? 11.
Whoa.
You think you can handle 11 $4 million transactions?
Jeez.
I can. I mean, at 11 $4 million transactions, of course, there's probably a lot of money going out in marketing, and you have a great, admin, but you really don't need more than one fantastic admin to be able to handle 11 transactions for the year. But because of the volume that you're closing, 44 million, that's $1 million GCI business on 11 transactions.
Wild.
But we're talking about Alpine. Alpine was the most expensive house was ever sold in Alpine. We have Rumson area where you got $10 million house. You go down to Avalon, Stone Harbor, you can find $10 million on the beach with the dunes. So, I mean, that's a very exclusive type of network that you run in when you have that kind of inventory. It's also not the best when the luxury market, and I was looking at it like, well, I wonder how many listings he had, because to actually close 11 at that price point in a time like this is a success, because that luxury market has kind of disappeared a little bit. But then again, Jim, to that point, is that high-end luxury, 4 million and over, that never gets touched unless some, that's old money. That's money that's not getting touched by the economy going like this. And that's something that you guys have to understand too, is when you're looking at a client, we're never going like, oh, that's Jim, he's here, but these clients are here. You never know when Jim is going to be here. He could be there in 5 years as far as the client that you're handling. Today he's buying a $250,000 house, and in 5 years from now he's buying the $1 million house. So never put anybody in a box. But always understand who is your audience and who are you talking to, because what's important for a $300,000 buyer that this is their life savings right now is not what's important to somebody who's moving into their move-up home at 750. They have other challenges. How do I get that house to close so this house isn't a challenge? Like, I got the money, I just need the ease and the smoothness of my transaction. So can I get on a tangent or what? All right. Any other things to tie a bow in this week? No.
The only thing I would say is that, as you're talking about the different prices of homes, one of the things that I've learned in my short real estate career is that really the price of the home is secondary to the process is the same. It's kind of like planning for a wedding or a big event, whether you have 10 people or whether you have, 2,000 people, those 117 steps are the same. You still need to understand motivation. You still need to take them through a process. And so it's something that it's really a mindset. If you get yourself hung up on that, you can't sell $1 million home. You can. I've gone from my first transaction, which was 200,000, to right now I'm in an off-market situation where I may be selling over $1 million. So, keep positive thoughts for me, but you realize that honestly, the people are people and the transaction is the transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. You have your challenges, and what did we say yesterday? Well, isn't that interesting? There's all sorts of challenges at all different price points. And so in my conversation with Jim yesterday, I did bring back up this conversation that I had, I think, last 2 weeks or so. When you're studying a market, you want to make sure in a market, there's usually two hot spots, two spots in the market where a lot of units sell. So understand your market is, do you have a pocket of 250 to 350, and then 5 to 600, that those are the two highest amount of units in a 12-month cycle. Well, if that's the case, why am I going to go spend my energy here if I could spend the same energy and time here? And this is going to yield me double the commission. So in figuring out your plan for who you're going to be going after, when you study a market, be wise. Go after the bigger bump. It might be a little smaller. There might be more homes selling at 250 to 350, and this might be the next bump, but it's still, you go after these homes, it's double the commission. Focus on this. You could always sell down. The guy who comes to your open house for 500 can buy the 350 because he can't afford the 500. The $1 million, they could buy the 750. So always go after the bigger market. Don't have a limiting or a drunk monkey going in your head saying, you've never done that before. Neither did the guy who's doing $4 million listings. He never did that before the first time he did it. And I say, we didn't come out of the womb with a real estate license. We all had to go get one. So we're all even. All right, guys, I enjoy my time with you too much. And I will post this video because we weren't able to go live with Zoom, but we're flexible. And I will see you back here. Well, I'll see you actually at the MREI Friday Financial link tomorrow at 11. All right, guys. All right, make some contacts, 5 to 10 contacts today.
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.